First of all, of course, a lot of preparations went to last weekend's match. However, from a set piece, you guys suffered a 1-0 defeat. What are the feelings now from Mapao, yourself, exit?
Well, first of all, it's disappointing. It's disappointing to lose, but then again, even post-game, I can clearly say I'm more disappointed in the fact that one goal defeated us. We've been working on set pieces, both for us and defending against set pieces, and the players just, they just went to sleep on it, And apart from the set piece, I don't really think Army threatened us, They really came out on the night and did nothing more than what we thought they would have done. But I'm disappointed in the attitude of my players. I'm disappointed in the fact that they're overconfident now. And, the sad thing is, I think not only with Mapao, but I think, and I don't want to speak on behalf of all the teams, but I think players in the league have a little more responsibility towards the game. They have a little more responsibility towards the clubs that are investing heavily on them. And with me in particular at Mapao, we're disappointed with the players and their performance on the night, more so because of the effort. And they understand that. And we need to tighten things up at the club, because I think in Trinidad, in football in particular, players take the sport for granted. They take the fact that it's a job for granted. And I think they still, it's sad to say, but they still come out with the mindset that they're coming out to sweat and it's a game. They really don't take it as a job. And it's sad, but that is the reality. I'm experiencing it at my club, and I'm sure other coaches would be experiencing it at their club. But at the end of the day, the onus is on me to tighten the screws and make things, make things a little more competitive in terms of the players and financial rewards. And I can say now that they're going to have to work. They're going to have to work extremely hard. And it's sad because at the end of the day, it reflects on the national team. I know Russell is in the limelight in terms of the results of the national team. But then again, Russell has to work with the players that go through the Pro League. And as I said before, not all the players, but it's sad to say the majority of the players, they have a poor attitude towards professionalism and football in particular in Trinidad.
And what are you doing, Mike, from your end to help curb that sort of attitude?
Well, what we plan to do now is have things on a much tighter basis. They will report 2 hours prior for work, and they will leave 2 hours later than planned. It doesn't mean that they will be working in between, but there are stuff that we need to work on between that time frame where we can adjust their attitude. As I say before, my team in particular, I have no problem with their skill, with their ability, but I am having grave difficulty with their attitude towards the job. And as I say before, when my boys are doing well, I tap them on the shoulder. When they're not doing well, I let them know. But based on the game, as I said before, hats off to Army, they won. But on the night, as I said prior to the game, the team that wants it the most will win. And unfortunately, Army wanted it more than us, but we didn't even reach up to average. Any team we played that night would have defeated Mapao based on the attitude of the players. And it's sad because prior to that, we invested in a camp and a lot of money was spent to prepare the boys for this competition in particular. And they are aware of that. But at the same time, we've reached a stage in the club where we feel we're not getting the returns from the players in terms of effort.
Mike, we're talking about these guys treating it as a minor league, just a sweat, and so on. The club is putting in the effort, but what else do you think the league needs in order to build and help this professional league?
Well, it's not so much the league, but I think individual clubs need to address things differently. When I make that point again, there are a number of players that take the job seriously. They do adapt to the job as a professional, but as I said before, based on the numbers and the percentages, there are just too many of them that are not doing it. And I think at Mapao, we're going to do things much different next year. We will not be offering long-term contracts. Players will be on month-to-month contracts. Some will be probably the longest 6-month contracts. We will no longer be going on with the 2-year contracts. And we think this is one way of deterring the negative response or the negative attitude towards the job from individual players. I think players in Trinidad for too long, they sign a year contract and they think that's the end all of everything, and 2 months into that contract, you find they're starting to head south in terms of the attitude. And last year we took a chance and we decided to put a team together for 2 years, but also we did cater for some problems like this, but we didn't think it would have been as widespread as it is throughout the team. You know, they got a tongue lashing from me after the game, and they know where it is. And we come out today to work, and they will come out from 9 till 2 and work every single day based on the job. You know, it's no different to anyone else. People go to work for 8 and leave at 4:30 in the evening. And I think footballers in particular have it a bit too easy. I never thought I've been seeing this in Trinidad. But footballers now, especially at Mapao, have it a bit too easy based on the salary that they are getting and the hours that they put in. You know, we try to do it as professionally as we could based on the football aspect of it. But there's one thing no coach in the world can instill in a player is his attitude. The boys either look at it as a job and a profession, or they don't, you know, and it's sad to say, but the same players, they all want to go abroad and play, but it's impossible to go abroad with the attitude that they have right now, and they just don't understand that. But I think it's not so much the league, but the clubs need to band together and tighten things where, and I'm just saying this because I experienced this at my club. I am almost certain other clubs experience it. You know, and that's what we need to do. We need to let the players understand that it's a job, and they not only need to come out in the morning and train, but they need to come with the right attitude. And, you know, I will do what I need to do. As I said before, I'm tightening the screws at the club, and, you know, if the players, we will know the professionals. The ones that fall at the wayside are the ones that are not ready and prepared to be a professional footballer.
Okay, Mike, now looking ahead, just around the corner, round 2 of the Digital Pro League. What are the preparations like, you know, into the second round?
Well, as I said before, we're changing things from today in particular, based on how we do things at Mapao in terms of the training session. We are hoping that by the time the league game comes around, the attitude of the players will be different. Not only are we doing that, but I am now going to revert to my old strategy, so to speak, in terms of, at the moment I'm looking for a couple 16-year-old boys to bring into the team, because we think we are getting a little more hunger from the 16-year-olds. Would the result be a positive one? I am the firm belief that if I have 11 players fighting their heart and soul, the result will be positive. Unfortunately, when you have players that think a team is strong, they don't give 100%. So we are now going to implement about 4 to 5 16-year-olds into the team. This week we are trying to acquire 2 of them. And as I said before, as long as players come in, we have to make room at the top to allow these players, you know, the time, and also based on our budget, cuts will be made. You know, so the boys that had the opportunity before, they are now going to train and play to defend the jobs that they have.
Would you like to reveal any of these new teenagers?
Of course not. You know, you don't want to put the teenagers under that kind of pressure. But there are a number of them that played on our reserve team, and they're out of school. So I think I'm going to re-implement or introduce them back to the training, and then we take a look at them, you know, going in. But we think that the younger ones are a bit more hungry and a little more determined to play professional football than some of the guys at the top right now, you know, and it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, you know, coaching is like everything else. You make mistakes, you make judgment calls, and you take risks, and you know, it's good to at least hear, you know, my staff and myself, you know, we need to know where we went wrong and try to correct that as soon as possible and be professional about it at the same time.
Everybody didn't went out and 100% behind them, and that was the problem.
Okay, and what you guys are doing now, round 2 of the Digital Pro League, just around the corner. What are the mindset from the players now here, looking ahead?
Well, we're trying to work as hard as everybody could and come out in the training sessions and apply ourselves, and in round 2 we'll go and give a good train that Mapao is worthy of watching playing football.